Tonight on Watch Fox News at 10, early voting in South Carolina is shattering records in its first week, but some are wanting to take to the polls and are being held up. We'll show you why that issue was in front of a judge today and what happened.
We may shatter some temperature records on Saturday, but we're going to go from a summer-like feel to a more of a fall feel throughout this weekend. I'll walk you through the changes and our rain chances coming up.
Plus, the Richland County Jail has been under the microscope for more than a year, and they're looking to put some qualified people on the job. Local leaders pulling out their checkbooks to do it. The News at 10 starts right now.
Live from the Fox Studios in Columbia, it's Watch Fox News at 10, Local First.
Good Friday evening to you, and thanks for joining us online for this special edition of the News at 10. I'm Claire Foley. A judge has turned back a request from the ACLU to add roughly 2,000 people to the voting register for the November election. This is due to a lawsuit after thousands of 17-year-olds who would have been eligible to vote in this year's election were left out, despite making clear their intention to register. This started after a young voter from Charleston realized he was not registered to vote after all for this election after checking a box that said he would be interested in being registered. Well, it turns out over 1,900 voters are in the same situation. So the ACLU filed the lawsuit against both the DMV and the State Election Commission. However, the Election Commission says that the problem is caused by a glitch in their registration that is denying young voters from registering for the election. The judge ruled that since early voting has already begun and Election Day itself is only 10 days away, it would disrupt the voting system this late in the game. Tonight we're learning the aftermath of a fire that ripped through an abandoned building and shut down part of Bluff Road in Columbia last night. Watch Fox's Mashari Adams spoke with fire officials about what they know so far in the investigation.
There was smoke pushing throughout the eaves of the roof of this vacant convenience store. Due to its deteriorating circumstances, we went to a defensive posture.
The Assistant Fire Chief Mickey Folsom is talking about a Thursday night blaze on Bluff Road. Fire crews got the call around 7:30. Officials say flames tore through the inside of an abandoned convenience store and started showing through the roof, which led crews at the scene to call in more units. Traffic had to be shut down in both directions in that area of Bluff Road while fire crews got the flames under control. Firefighters say they were able to fully extinguish the fire by 10:30 and traffic was reopened.
Based on the area and based on our people's safety and the water and stuff that we needed that space to keep our personnel safe.
The good news is no injuries were reported, and the Richland County Fire Marshal's office is investigating what caused the fire. In Columbia, Masharia Adams, Watch Fox News, Local First.
Just this afternoon, USC's Board of Trustees approving Phase 1 of the Williams-Brice Stadium project. This approval comes a year after the university and athletic department developed a master plan for their goals for the stadium, which included plans for premium experiences for fans, as well as a food, retail, and lodging district adjacent to the stadium. Phase 1 will focus on the premium and club seating side of the endeavor. Athletics Director Ray Tanner says that having this would create opportunity. He says they don't want to be counted out on hosting big events like the Manchester United-Liverpool game that was here in August if they don't have enough specialized seating.
We almost didn't get that because of our premium space. They wanted more premium space. They said, it's all the suites you have? We said, that's it. That's one of the things that they requested, that we didn't have an opportunity. They sold for enormous amount of money because of that international soccer event. So that's the kind of things that you put yourself in a better position to bring in great events, concerts, you name it. We can use it for certainly more things than 7 Saturdays a year.
And along those lines of missed opportunities, Tanner was asked about Columbia missing out on hosting NCAA men's basketball tournament games because there weren't enough hotels in the area. To which he said that he is constantly talking to Mayor Daniel Rickenman about the city and university's plans, saying they're on the same page when it comes to growth and doesn't think that going forward it'll be an issue, and that they plan to get some more full-service hotels in the area. The embattled Richland County Jail is looking for some help as officials work to get more people on the job behind the walls. Watch Fox's Joey Matei explains how they're looking to make that happen.
The sign-on bonus is definitely a major selling point. The sign-on bonus that job applicant is talking about is worth $5,000 with an additional bonus of $5,000 after 1 year of service at the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center. But that doesn't mean that they will hire just anybody.
We have a strong vetting process, not only on the county side, but also on the criminal justice side. With our South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy, we have a vetting system between that.
Applicants who came to Friday's job fair were able to apply for 2 positions, detention officer and summary court law clerk. Jail Director Crayman Harvey says there is a lot of work to be done.
The workload, it's intense, and that's because you're doing a lot with the little bit of people that you have. But, we work as a family here, so we're not even worried about the workload. We're just doing what we got to do.
They were very receptive. And opening, and even when asking the questions, the answers, they were very in tune.
Over the last year, employees at the detention center have been arrested after being accused of smuggling contraband into the jail. All of them were fired, and it's something county leaders want to eliminate in the future.
Like I told them in there, you bringing something in today could potentially harm me next week. So you got to kind of remember that and keep that in mind.
But people are people. If they want to do a legal activity, they're going to find a way. But we're looking for, hopefully today, candidates to come here who don't want to do that and who really want to make an honest living and actually help us out with our mission.
In order for somebody to apply for that job, they must be at least 21 years of age, and they must have a high school diploma or a GED. Reporting outside of Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center, I'm Joey Matei. Watch Fox News, local first.
With a high of 85 today at the Columbia Metro Airport, we were just 3 degrees shy of a record high for today's date. Now for tomorrow, we could very well see record-breaking temperatures. A closer look at our Saturday warmth and the big cool down coming on Sunday right after this.
I have had problems with my joints for quite some time. I couldn't ride my bike. I couldn't garden. I just couldn't take the pain anymore. So when I got to South Carolina, I found Dr. Christensen. Dr. Christensen has a great bedside manner. He's easy to talk to. If you have questions, he listens. I was happy with that type of robotic surgery for hip replacements. I'm in the garden. I'm reaching out to do other things now.
MUSC Health, changing what's possible in orthopedic health.
A very quick warm-up coming our way tomorrow morning. We start the day in the low to mid 50s. By noon, we're already up to 80 degrees. The entire afternoon will be spent in the 80s, and this time around, we're talking upper 80s, potentially record territory. 88 the forecast high tomorrow in Columbia, Lexington, and in Orangeburg, up to 84 in Winnsboro. And as I mentioned, we could see some records fall tomorrow. Tomorrow's record high is 87 degrees in Columbia and Orangeburg. Both those locations forecast to break a record tomorrow afternoon. Sumter and Aiken will also be very close to snapping those record highs as well. So not too often that we see upper 80s this late in the season, but that's what's very well could be in the cards for us on Saturday. Sunday is a completely different story. Highs fall to the 60s for most of the region on Sunday afternoon. Check out Winnsboro, only a high of 62 on Sunday. Camden, just 63. Newberry, only 62. It's going to cool down in a hurry. That's thanks to a strong cold front that will be rolling through over the weekend. So Saturday starts sunny in the morning and in the afternoon. Once we get to the evening, we'll see clouds quickly fill in. That's when the cold front will be arriving. With those clouds will come at least a chance at some rain, which we have not seen this entire month of October. Not everyone's going to get the rain, but some of you will. I would say it's going to be light to moderate showers, so I'm not expecting torrential downpours and nothing that's really going to add up in the rain gauge, but nonetheless, at least some moisture is possible from late Saturday evening through Sunday morning. By the time we get to Sunday afternoon, most of the rain should be out of here, but notice the clouds will be sticking around, and that's one of the key reasons we're anticipating much cooler temperatures on Sunday is the cloud cover. Plus, we'll also have a steady northeast breeze continuing to filter in that cooler than normal air. If we get rain, it's going to really total up to less than a quarter inch for basically everyone. Most of us getting even less than that, closer to a 1/10 of an inch or even less. So it won't be a big deal in the long term, but again, just kind of a change of pace from what we've seen these past 4 weeks or so. Update on the tropics real quick. No issues expected for the next week or so, but late next week into the following weekend, some of the long-range models are showing the potential for low pressure to develop right around here. This is well south of the U.S. What happens after that is very much a mystery, but if we go on what typically happens in November, it would be more likely to track perhaps near Cuba, the Bahamas, and then out to the open Atlantic. It's difficult to get systems to move into the Gulf of Mexico this time of the year because we get more cold fronts and more wind shear to disrupt storms from tracking that direction in November. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not likely. We've only had 4 landfalling hurricanes in the U.S. in the month of November on record, so it certainly would be a rare sight if that happens. Here's a look at a 10-day forecast. Highs back to the 70s on Monday and Tuesday. We warm back up to the 80s as we approach Halloween next Thursday. And we'll kick off the month of November late next week with more of that above average weather in the upper 70s and the low 80s.
Tonight, Highway Patrol is investigating a multi-car hit and run where a 74-year-old man was left for dead after being hit by 3 different cars on Thursday. The Lexington County coroner says 74-year-old Robert Bars was hit around 7:15 last night while he was walking along US 178 in Pelion. An unidentified car hit him and kept going. Soon after, authorities say another unidentified vehicle hit Bars and kept going. Investigators say they do know that the 3rd car involved was a Chevy sedan. Bars died at the scene. This is still an active investigation. We're learning tonight that Israel has retaliated against Iran in response to an attack on Israel earlier this month. The impact of the attack wasn't immediately clear. Without elaborating, the Israel Defense Forces say it launched precise strikes on military targets in Iran. Iranian state media, meanwhile, are reporting explosions around the capital city, Tehran. Israel has been threatening retaliation since Iran launched dozens of missiles at Israel October 1st. The Iranian government says that attack was in response to the killing of Hamas leader Hassan Nasrallah. According to AP sources, Chinese hackers reportedly targeted people affiliated with both the Harris Walz campaign and the Trump Vance campaign. The hackers infiltrated cell phones used by both campaigns. It's unclear if any data was actually taken, but U.S. officials are investigating the unauthorized access. Sources say it's suspected to be part of a larger cyber espionage campaign launched in China. The state once called 2 men criminals, but now they're being called heroes. This afternoon, 2 living civil rights activists and 5 who have passed away had their records expunged after more than 5 decades. Charles Barr and Reverend Simon Bowie, along with 5 others who died, are now being honored by the same system that gave them records. On March 14, 1960, Bowie and Talmadge Neal went to the Eckeridge drugstore on Main Street in Columbia and requested to be served at the all-white lunch counter. Both were arrested and charged with breach of peace and resisting arrest. The next day, Barr and several other men went into the Taylor Street pharmacy and also asked to be served, and they too were arrested. Their convictions were overturned in 1964, but their records were never expunged. That is, until today.
You don't know how things were in 1960, and how you could disappear and nobody would ever know what happened to you.
All of us were on scholarship, but we had a desire to fight for what was right.
Advocates say that they hope that this will be just the beginning of the reversal of other wrongdoings done by the justice system. Well, if you're looking for something fun to do, a demonstration you don't want to miss is rolling through Columbia this weekend. Hot Wheels monster trucks are taking over Colonial Life Arena. It's the second time this year the arena is hosting a Hot Wheels live show. It features a new monster truck and a car-eating dinosaur. I'd be afraid to see that in action. There will be tricks with the cars. The demonstration won't have any dirt, and children and families will have the chance to meet the monster truck drivers and spend time on the floor with the trucks if they buy a VIP ticket. One of those drivers says he can certainly guarantee a magical show.
Everybody has a memory with Hot Wheels with Mattel, whether your kids play with Hot Wheels now or you played with Hot Wheels growing up. So a lot of times you'll see the kids' reactions that some of them have never been to a monster truck show before, and they bring their favorite Hot Wheels truck, whether it's Hot Wheels 5 Alarm or Gangster or Tiger Shark. They bring it with them to the show and they're holding it in their hand, and then they walk out on the floor and see the full size one, and it kind of like takes their breath away, I guess you say. They kind of get a little starstruck. So
A warning, the show will be loud, but earplugs will be available for anyone who needs them. There will be a show Saturday morning and night, as well as Sunday morning. For more information on how to get your tickets, you can just head to our website at wach.com.
All right, another check of the 10-day forecast. Tale of two seasons this weekend. Summer on Saturday, fall on Sunday. Again, record warmth is definitely possible on Saturday with a high of 88 in Columbia. Big cool down coming on Sunday, though. It's going to be kind of cloudy, kind of breezy out there, a whole lot cooler. Just jacket weather in general to close out the weekend. We'll kind of settle in between those two most of next week with some 70s and low 80s leading up to Halloween. And those of you wondering, we are likely going to be dry for trick-or-treating on next Thursday. So
the dry spell continues.
Yes, yeah. Might put an end to that on Saturday night, but if we don't get it, then this will be our driest month ever.
Wow.
In Columbia.
Well, before that, you might have a pool day.
Yeah. If you find a pool that's open, then yeah, that's the place to be.
Well, that's the place you want to be, or at least out. I think both of us, we're not used to the warm weather this time of year, so go out and enjoy it while you can. Thanks so much for joining us on this special edition of the News at 10. Join us again tomorrow night. We might be on a little bit later after the World Series, but we will be there, so we want to see you too. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good night.